Have you ever felt like reality isn't as solid as it seems? Like the universe is full of strange glitches, unsolved mysteries, and anomalies that make no sense? Science is supposed to explain everything, yet there are countless phenomena that leave even the smartest minds baffled. From impossible physics to biological oddities, from cosmic mysteries to time-warping paradoxes. These are the cracks in our understanding of existence. Tonight, we're diving into 100th of the weirdest scientific anomalies ever recorded, ranking them from level 1, the mildly bizarre. Some of these mysteries might make you question everything, while others will simply remind you how strange our universe truly is. So, close your eyes, relax, and let's drift into the unknown. The Mpemba Effect. The strange case of hot water freezing faster than cold He-Man. Imagine you're standing in your kitchen, about to make a batch of ice cubes. You pour some cold water into one tray, and, just for fun, you pour hot water into another. Common sense tells you that the cold water should freeze. First, it's already closer to ice, after all. But then something strange happens. The hot water, against all logic, starts freezing faster than the cold. You check the freezer, rub your eyes, and wonder if you made a mistake. But no, you didn't. This is the Mpemba Effect, a mystery that has puzzled scientists for centuries. How can heat, which should slow things down, actually speed up the freezing process? No one truly knows. Some theories suggest that evaporation plays a role. Hot water steams, and when some of it escapes, there's simply less liquid left to freeze. A smaller volume of water means less freezing time, but that's not the whole story. Even when scientists carefully control evaporation, making sure both hot and cold samples start with the same amount of water, the Mpemba Effect still happens. The hot water defies expectation. It seems to break the fundamental rules of thermodynamics, as if it knows something we don't. Could it be convection? Hot water moves more than cold water. The swirling currents inside a hot cup of liquid help distribute heat more evenly. Maybe, just maybe, this movement speeds up the freezing process. But hold on, why should movement affect freezing at all? Shouldn't more energy make things slower, not faster? That's where the mystery deepens. Even in completely still water, the Mpemba effect has been observed, leaving scientists scratching their heads. And then there's supercooling, a bizarre state where water drops below freezing temperature, but refuses to turn into ice. When disturbed, it suddenly snaps into a frozen state in an instant, as if ice was waiting for permission to appear. Some believe that hot water somehow resists supercooling better than cold water, allowing it to form ice more quickly. But again, experiments have failed to produce a definitive answer. It's like reality itself is playing a trick, challenging our understanding of how heat and cold are supposed to work. Think about it, heat should be the enemy of freezing, right? Yet here we are, watching warmth accelerate the cold. It's unsettling in a way, like a paradox trapped in the fabric of nature. We rely on science to give us neat, logical answers, but the Mpemba effect laughs at our confidence. It whispers, "You don't understand everything. Not yet." And that's both thrilling and terrifying. History tells us that anomalies like this have always led to deeper discoveries. Centuries ago, people thought heat and cold were substances, physical things you could add or remove from objects. Then, we discovered that temperature is just the chaotic dance of molecules, and what we call cold is really just the absence of motion. But what if we still don't have the full picture? What if the Mpemba effect is a clue to something much deeper, some hidden property of water, or even a flaw in the way we understand reality itself? Water, after all, is weird. It's the only substance that expands when it freezes. It forms bizarre, intricate crystal structures that change based on pressure, temperature, and even impurities. It can exist as a solid, liquid, and gas at the same time under the right conditions. It holds heat better than almost any other common substance. And now, it seems, it has a secret relationship with freezing that we still don't comprehend. Some researchers have turned to quantum physics for hers, something even stranger. The Mpemba effect doesn't always happen. Sometimes, in controlled experiments, hot water does freeze faster. Other times, it doesn't. What determines whether the effect appears or not? What unseen variables are at play? It's as if reality is teasing us, revealing a mystery but keeping the answer just out. Some researchers have turned to quantum physics for answers. What if, at a microscopic level, water molecules don't behave the way we expect? Maybe when heated, the structure of water changes in some unknown way, altering the way it freezes. Quantum mechanics has already shown us that reality isn't always logical. Particles can be in two places at once. Objects can be entangled across vast distances, and time itself can behave strangely. Could the Mpemba effect be another crack in the illusion we call normal physics? And then there's the possibility that we're looking at it all wrong. Maybe freezing isn't just about temperature. Maybe it's about energy states, molecular organization, or something we haven't even named yet. Some studies suggest that impurities in water, like minerals and gases, play a role. Maybe hot water sheds these impurities faster, allowing for a smoother freezing process. But if that's the case, why does the effect persist even when ultra-purified water is used? The pieces of the puzzle refuse to fit together. Here's something even stranger. The Mpemba effect doesn't always happen. Sometimes, in controlled experiments, hot water does freeze faster. Other times, it doesn't. What determines whether the effect appears or not? What unseen variables are at play? It's as if reality is teasing us, revealing a mystery but keeping the answer just out of reach. The story of the Mpemba effect goes back centuries. Aristotle mentioned that warm water sometimes froze faster than cold. Centuries later, Francis Bacon and Descartes noted the same thing. But it wasn't until 1963, when a Tanzanian student named Ernesto Mpemba observed it in a classroom, that the effect was given serious scientific attention. Mpemba, who was making ice cream at the time, noticed that his hot mixture solidified faster than his friend's cold one. When he asked his teacher why, he was laughed at, but he refused to let it go. He knew what he saw, and years later, scientists confirmed that he was right. And that's the beauty of anomalies like this. They challenge what we think we know. They remind us that science isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions. Maybe one day, the Mpemba effect will be fully understood. Maybe we'll discover that water has hidden properties we never imagined. Or maybe, just maybe, it will lead us to a revelation far stranger than we ever expected. For now, though, the mystery remains. The next time you freeze water, pay close attention. Watch the frost creep along the surface. Feel the strangeness of a world that doesn't always behave the way we think it should. And as you drift off to sleep, let that thought settle into your mind. There are still mysteries out there, waiting to be solved. The immortal jellyfish. Toratopsis dorni defies death by reverting to its juvenile state, a creature in the depths of the ocean, a jellyfish that holds a secret. It's not just a jellyfish. It's a living anomaly, a creature that defies one of nature's most fundamental rules. Death. This jellyfish, known as Toratopsis dorni, has baffled scientists and mystified naturalists for years with its extraordinary ability to reverse time itself. Imagine this. When faced with injury, starvation, or the encroaching shadow of death, this jellyfish doesn't just fight for survival, it reverses its life cycle, returning to a younger, more vulnerable stage. And in doing so, it essentially becomes immortal, or at least it appears to. It's not like any other animal. Most of us are familiar with the cycle of life, growth, decay, and death. It's inevitable, isn't it? From the moment we're born, we begin to age. We gain wisdom, experience, and scars as we move through life. And then, eventually, we die. But the immortal jellyfish doesn't follow this pattern. When it gets older, when it starts to feel the weight of age, it simply reverts to a polyp at the very beginning of its life. It's as if this creature has discovered a cosmic cheat code, a loophole in the natural order of things. Think about it for a second. Every time this jellyfish feels its time running out, it doesn't wait for the end. Instead, it unravels, shrinking itself back into the form of a young organism. All its cells, all its memories, all its experiences, they're wiped clean, and it begins its life again. It doesn't just grow it as if it gets a second chance at life, each and every time. The cycle of aging and death, something we all face, is completely undone in this tiny creature. For Toratopsis dohrnii, death is just an illusion, something to be avoided, at least for now. This miraculous process is known as transdifferentiation. It's not just a biological process, it's a revelation. This jellyfish, by transforming its cells back into a younger state, isn't just reversing time, it's rewriting the very rules of biology. It's as though the jellyfish knows something we don't, like it's privy to a secret hidden deep within the ocean's dark expanse. This ability to regenerate its life cycle isn't a fluke. It's part of its biology. Over and over again, this creature can avoid death, as if the concept of aging and mortality doesn't apply to it. In the quiet, eerie depths of the sea, it continues to drift forever young, forever free from the chains of time. Imagine the implications of this. What if we could all do that? What if we had the ability to turn back the clock, to reverse the wear and tear of time and begin again? What if we could shed the years of experience, the regrets, the pain, and the weariness of life, and just start fresh? The immortal jellyfish embodies that dream, but it's not a fantasy. It's a real, tangible process in the natural world. Its ability to rejuvenate is a stark contrast to the inevitable decay we know so well. While we age and break down, this jellyfish simply presses reset. But don't be fooled into thinking that this process is easy or without cost. The jellyfish doesn't simply decide to revert it, often triggered by stress or injury. When conditions aren't right, or when its environment becomes too harsh, it goes through this transformation almost instinctively. It's a desperate move, a last-ditch effort to survive, but it works. The creature can live through multiple life cycles, over and over, as long as the conditions allow. It's a reminder that even the most miraculous phenomena are driven by necessity, by the harshness of survival. In a way, this jellyfish is a mirror to the human condition. It's a symbol of our desire to escape death, to cheat the inevitable decline that we all face. It's a metaphor for the longing to cling to youth, to hold on to life, to ward off the slow creep of time. The jellyfish shows us that perhaps there are ways to defy the very laws of nature, that the universe might contain hidden mechanisms that, if understood, could change everything we thought we knew about life and death. Scientists still don't completely understand how the jellyfish achieves its immortal feat. The mechanics behind transdifferentiation are still being studied. How does a creature go from old to young, from mature to juvenile, with such ease? Is there a genetic blueprint hidden within its DNA that allows this process to occur without error? Are there signals that the jellyfish sends to its cells, instructing them to revert? Or does it possess a deeper, more ancient secret one that we're only just beginning to understand? The answers are out there, hidden beneath the surface of the ocean, waiting for someone to uncover them. Perhaps the most fascinating thing about the immortal jellyfish is the fact that it doesn't need to do anything to extend its life. It doesn't have to fight off diseases or predators with physical strength. It doesn't rely on complicated rituals or intelligence to survive. Instead, it relies on a biological process that is so profound, so elegant, it feels almost like a glitch in the system, a cosmic loophole. And maybe that's what makes it so unsettling. It forces us to confront the idea that life, in all its complexity, might be less about fighting against time and more about knowing how to bend it, how to manipulate it. When we think of immortality, we often picture a state of eternal youth, of being untouched by time. But the jellyfish's version of immortality is different. It's not about staying the same, it's about going back. It's about returning to the beginning, to the purest form of life, and then restarting, free from the weight of age and experience. In a sense, it's not eternal life in the way we imagine. It's a recycled existence, a constant loop of youth and rebirth, as if the jellyfish is saying, I will never be bound by the same rules as everything else. Perhaps that's the most profound thing about the immortal jellyfish, its willingness to embrace change. While humans often fight against time, trying to freeze ourselves in moments of perfection, this jellyfish understands that life is a process of transformation. It doesn't try to hold on to its past self lets go. It evolves. And maybe that's the secret to its immortality. The willingness to transform rather than resist change. As you think about this tiny creature drifting silently in the ocean's depths, consider the possibility that there's more to life than just moving forward. Maybe there's a way to go backward, to shed the old skin, to cleanse yourself of the weight of time and start anew. The immortal jellyfish doesn't fear death, and it doesn't fear change. It simply embraces it, flowing freely through the currents of life and death, unburdened by the limitations that bind us. And as the waves of sleep begin to wash over you, let the immortal jellyfish remind you of something deeply comforting. Life is more than just the cycle of birth, growth, and death. There's beauty in transformation, in rebirth, in the endless possibility to start over, to reinvent yourself. It's a peaceful thought, one that carries you gently into a world of dreams where time itself can bend and stretch, where immortality isn't an impossible wish, it's a natural process, a part of the quiet flow of the universe. And maybe, just maybe, we all have the potential to find our own way of transcending time, to live forever in a different way. The wow signal, a one-time cosmic radio burst that might have been aliens, or just a cosmic accident, are moments in history that leave us breathless. Events so strange and unexplainable that they sit on the edge of possibility, whispering of something beyond our understanding. One such moment occurred on August 15, 1977, when a radio telescope at Ohio State University picked up a signal from deep space. It was brief, just 72 seconds long, but it was unlike anything we had ever received before. A perfect spike in frequency, so clear, so distinct, that astronomer Jerry Eman circled it on the data printout and wrote a single word beside it: wow. And in that moment, the mystery began. The wow signal was not just another random blip in the noise of the cosmos. It came from a precise direction in the sky, near the constellation Sagittarius, and had all the hallmarks of an intentional broadcast. It wasn't from Earth, and it wasn't from any known human satellite. It came from somewhere out there, in the vast emptiness between the stars. For decades, scientists have searched for its source, replaying the moment over and over, but the signal never returned. It was a singular event, like a whisper in the dark, leaving us wondering, was it a message? Was it a beacon? Or was it just an accident of the universe? A cosmic trick played on our curiosity? To truly grasp the weight of this mystery, imagine the sheer scale of the cosmos. billions of galaxies, trillions of stars, an unfathomable number of planets, each one spinning in the dark, a potential home to something unknown. And in the middle of it all, for a brief moment, Earth intercepted something. A pattern, a signal, a burst of energy that, for reasons we still don't understand, stood out against the endless static of space. What made the WOW signal so fascinating wasn't just the clarity of its transmission, but the eerie silence that followed. Scientists pointed their telescopes back to the same location again and again, hoping to catch even the faintest echo, but there was nothing. It was as if the universe had spoken a single word and then fallen silent forever. Was it a deliberate message sent once and never again? Was it an experiment, a transmission meant for someone else that we just happened to overhear? Or was it a mistake, a coincidence of nature, a sound created by something so far beyond our comprehension that we may never understand it? It's easy to imagine an advanced civilization, thousands or even millions of years ahead of us, reaching out across the stars, waiting for someone to notice them. If they had sent the WOW signal on purpose, what were they hoping for? A response? A connection? Or were they simply letting us know that they were there? And if they were out there, listening, what would they think of us? Would they hear the radio waves we send out into space, our old broadcasts of music, war, laughter, and sorrow? Would they recognize us as kindred beings, struggling to understand the same universe that they, too, call home? Of course, there's another possibility, one far less romantic, yet just as fascinating. What if the WOW signal wasn't from an alien intelligence at all? What if it was something else entirely, something natural, something we just don't understand yet? Space is filled with mysterious signals, bursts of energy from pulsars, flashes of radiation from black holes, the chaotic hum of cosmic background noise. What if the signal was simply a product of the universe itself, a phenomenon waiting to be explained? But here's where the mystery deepens. Scientists have spent decades trying to replicate the conditions of the WOW signal, searching for anything that could have mimicked its signature. But nothing has ever matched it. No pulsar, no cosmic event, no known radio interference has ever produced anything quite like what was detected that night in 1977. It remains, to this day, a complete and total anomaly. Imagine, for a moment, that you are alone in a vast, empty room. You call out into the silence, expecting nothing, and then just once you hear someone call back, you turn to look, but there's no one there, no footsteps, no signs of life. Just the memory of the sound, lingering in the air, haunting you forever. That is the WOW signal, a voice in the void, a moment of impossible clarity in an ocean of silence. Some believe that if we ever hear it again, if another signal like it ever reaches us, it will change everything. It will mean that we are not alone, that something, somewhere, is aware of us. And that thought is both exhilarating and terrifying. Because what would it mean for humanity to no longer be the only ones looking up at the sky, wondering who else is out there? What would it mean to finally have an answer to the question that has haunted us for centuries? But maybe the signal was never meant for us at all. Maybe we weren't supposed to hear it. Maybe it was part of a conversation between two distant civilizations, a transmission we accidentally intercepted. If that's the case, what were they saying to each other? Were they arguing, laughing, warning each other of something beyond our comprehension? Were they speaking of things far beyond our understanding, concepts we cannot grasp, ideas we will never know? Or maybe, just maybe, it was a warning. Because the truth is, we don't know what's out there. We don't know if the universe is kind or hostile. We don't know if the civilizations that might exist beyond our reach are curious explorers, or something else entirely, something darker, What if the wow signal was the last broadcast of a dying world, a desperate cry across the stars? What if it was the sound of a civilization on the brink of destruction, reaching out one last time, before being swallowed by the void? The universe is old, older than we can comprehend. And in all that time, how many species have risen and fallen? How many worlds have bloomed with life, only to wither away, their voices fading into nothingness? If the wow signal was a whisper from one of them, then it is not just a scientific mystery. It is a ghost, a fragment of something long gone, lingering in the endless night. Or perhaps, in some distant star system, there is someone else, someone just like us, staring at their own version of the wow signal, wondering the same things we do. Maybe, across the vast gulf of space, to civilizations, separated by unimaginable distances, have each caught a glimpse of the other. And maybe neither of them will ever know for sure, because that's the beauty of the wow signal. It is not an answer, it is a question that keeps us looking up at the sky, searching for something more, a question that lingers in the back of our minds as we drift into sleep, wondering, dreaming, imagining, ... What if, out there in the infinite dark, someone is still waiting for us to respond? The hexagonal storm of Saturn, a perfect six-sided tempest that defies Minnesotan, the ringed giant of our solar system, is a world of breathtaking beauty and unfathomable mystery. For centuries, we have gazed at its golden bands, its icy rings stretching across the black void, its swirling clouds hinting at the chaos beneath. But there is something else, something more strange, something that should not exist, and yet, there it is. At Saturn's North Pole, in the cold depths of space, a storm rages. But this is no ordinary storm. It is a perfect, six-sided vortex, colossal hexagon, stretching 20,000 miles across, wider than Earth itself. And the strangest part, we have no idea why it's there. A storm should not be shaped like this. On Earth, hurricanes spiral, twisting into the familiar, swirling forms dictated by wind and pressure. But on Saturn, something different is happening. Something that bends the rules of nature, forming a geometric pattern so precise that it looks as if it were crafted by a cosmic hand. The storm's edges are impossibly sharp, its six sides defined as though they had been carved into the planets. Atmosphere rotates with eerie precision, never shifting, never fading, an endless, undying phenomenon that has persisted for decades, perhaps even centuries. Imagine standing at the edge of this storm, looking out over a vast chasm of churning, alien clouds. The winds here are furious, racing at hundreds of miles per hour, yet they are locked in an orderly dance, confined within the perfect shape of the hexagon. There is no wobble, no break in its form. It is as if Saturn itself is holding its breath, sustaining this impossibility against the chaotic nature of weather. How does something so wild, so untamed, remain so unnervingly structured? Scientists have tried to understand it. They have recreated its patterns in labs, spinning fluids in tanks to see if they could mimic its formation. And while they have come close, there is something about the sheer scale of Saturn's hexagon that defies explanation. Some suggest that it is the result of standing waves in the atmosphere, much like the way ocean currents can create vast, repeating patterns on Earth. Others believe it could be a result of the planet's rapid rotation, twisting its atmosphere into this strange, geometric prison. But no theory has fully explained why it remains so perfectly stable, why it does not fade, shift, or dissolve into the chaos of Saturn's storms. And then there's the color. As the seasons on Saturn change, so does the hue of the hexagon. It shifts from a deep blue to a golden yellow, as though the planet itself is breathing, its storm responding to unseen forces beyond our understanding. What causes this transformation? Is it the sun's distant light, altering the chemistry of Saturn's clouds? Or is there something deeper at play, some unknown force within the planet, dictating the evolution of this impossible storm? It is humbling, in a way. We like to think we understand the universe, that we have mapped its mysteries and catalogued its secrets. But then we find something like this, a storm that refuses to conform, a shape that should not be, a question that lingers in the void. It reminds us that the cosmos is still full of wonder, that we are still explorers in a vast, unknowable expanse. If you were to travel to Saturn, to stand at the edge of its rings and look down at this great, swirling hexagon, what would you feel? Would you be awed by its perfection, its sheer mathematical beauty? Or would you feel something deeper, something unsettling, as if the universe itself was whispering a secret just beyond your reach? Some have speculated wildly, their minds drifting to impossible places. What if Saturn's hexagon is not a natural phenomenon at all? What if it is a message, a signature left by something else, something ancient, something watching? The idea is pure speculation, of course, but the thought lingers. A storm so perfect, so persistent, almost feels as if it was designed. And if it was, by whom, by what, and for what purpose? Perhaps we will never know. Perhaps the hexagon will remain spinning endlessly above Saturn's pole, a mystery that endures long after we are gone. Or perhaps, one day, we will understand it, and in doing so, we will unlock a deeper truth about the nature of the cosmos. Maybe we will discover that there are rules we have yet to learn, forces we have yet to comprehend. Maybe the hexagon is a clue, a puzzle piece in a grander design we have only just begun to glimpse. And yet, there is something deeply comforting about the fact that mysteries like this still exist. In an age where so much has been explained, where science has reached into the very fabric of reality, there are still things that defy us, still things that make us wonder, still things that make us dream. The hexagonal storm of Saturn is a reminder that the universe is vast, beautiful, and profoundly strange. It is a reminder that no matter how much we learn, there will always be questions left unanswered, always. Puzzles waiting to be solved. And as you drift off into sleep, let your mind wander to that distant world, to the silent, swirling storm that has watched the cosmos for untold ages. Let yourself imagine the mysteries that still wait for us out there, in the great unknown. The missing antimatter problem. A cosmic mystery that defies explanation in the beginning. There was everything and nothing. The universe as we know it was born from a single moment of incomprehensible energy, a flash so intense, so absolute, that within the span of an instant, all that would ever exist was set into motion. The Big Bang was not a quiet birth. It was a cosmic eruption, a churning cauldron of pure energy, unfurling into the vastness of the unknown. And in that moment, something else should have happened. Something that, for all our equations and all our theories, remains one of the greatest mysteries of existence. Matter was born, but so too should have been its perfect mirror. Antimatter, in theory, the laws of physics demand symmetry. For every particle of matter that sprang into existence, an equal particle of antimatter should have emerged alongside it, like a reflection in the cosmic glass. And yet, as we look around, as we gaze across the vastness of space, the balance is missing. The universe is not made of equal parts matter and antimatter. In fact, antimatter is almost nowhere to be found. This isn't just a minor discrepancy, it is a profound enigma that challenges the very foundation of our understanding. If the universe was created in perfect balance, then where did all the antimatter go? To understand the depth of this mystery, we must first understand what antimatter truly is. At first glance, it seems identical to matter. It behaves the same way, it follows the same physical laws. But there is one crucial difference: single reversal in charge. Where the electron, the fundamental building block of atoms, carries a negative charge, the anti-electron, more commonly called a positron, carries a positive one. Where protons are positively charged, their antimatter counterparts, antiprotons, are negatively charged. And herein lies the problem. When matter and antimatter meet, they do not coexist. They annihilate one another in a burst of pure energy, vanishing as though they had never existed at all. So why is the universe still here? If equal amounts of matter and antimatter were created in the Big Bang, they should have immediately cancelled each other out, leaving behind nothing but a universe of light, no galaxies, no planets, no stars, and certainly no life. And yet, somehow, against all odds, a tiny fraction of matter survived. A fraction so small, so infinitesimal, that it shaped everything we see today. It was enough to build the stars, to sculpt the galaxies, to give rise to the atoms that now form your body, your thoughts, your entire existence. But why? What force tipped the scales, favoring matter over antimatter? Scientists have searched for answers, diving deep into the laws of physics, searching for any sign of an imbalance, any tiny hidden preference in the fundamental forces of the universe. One of the most promising clues comes from the weak nuclear force, one of the four fundamental forces of nature. Unlike gravity or electromagnetism, the weak force does something peculiar. It shows a slight favoritism for matter over antimatter. In certain rare interactions, it allows matter to persist just a little more often than its opposite. Could this tiny bias, buried deep within the universe's fundamental rules, be the reason we exist? But the problem is far from solved. The asymmetry that we observe in the weak force is nowhere near large enough to account for the near-total disappearance of antimatter. It is like trying to explain an ocean by pointing to a single drop of water. And so, the search continues. Particle accelerators smash atoms together at unimaginable speeds, recreating the conditions of the early universe, hoping to catch a glimpse of the missing antimatter. Space telescopes scan the distant cosmos, searching for entire regions where antimatter might have survived, hidden away in the vast darkness. But so far, the answer eludes us. There are more exotic theories, ideas that stretch the boundaries of what we know. Some suggest that antimatter may not have been destroyed, but instead displaced, perhaps flung into another realm of existence. A parallel universe where the laws of physics evolved in reverse. A shadow cosmos where antimatter reigns supreme. Others wonder if something deeper, something we have not yet discovered, is at play, some unknown force that, at the dawn of time, whispered ever so slightly in favor of matter, ensuring that it would persist, ensuring that the universe as we know it would be born. And yet, the more we search, the deeper the mystery becomes. Every answer leads to new questions. Every discovery opens another door. Why should the universe have chosen matter over antimatter? Was it luck, a quirk of probability, or is there a deeper reason, hidden within the very structure of reality itself? If the universe is ruled by laws, then those laws must have permitted this imbalance. And if they permitted it, what else might they allow? What other secrets remain just beyond our reach? It is a humbling thought. We like to believe we understand the cosmos, that our equations and theories can explain the grand dance of the stars. But this problem, this missing antimatter, reminds us that there are still vast unknowns, still mysteries so deep that they shake the very foundation of what we think we know. And perhaps that is the beauty of it. Perhaps the universe is meant to keep some of its secrets, to leave us with questions that stretch beyond our grasp, questions that remind us how much there is still to learn. As you drift into sleep, imagine the birth of everything, the silent explosion of energy that set the cosmos into motion. Imagine the twin forces of matter and antimatter, locked in their eternal struggle, vanishing in bursts of light, yet somehow, against all odds, leaving just enough behind. Just enough to build the stars, the galaxies, the world you know, just enough to create you. And as the universe expands, as time stretches forward into the infinite unknown, remember this: some mysteries are not meant to be solved in a single lifetime. Some answers wait at the edges of our understanding, lingering just beyond the horizon of what we can see. The missing antimatter problem is one of them, a whisper from the dawn of time, a puzzle written in the fabric of existence. One day, we may find the answer, or perhaps it will always remain a reminder that the universe, in all its vastness, is still filled with wonder. The placebo effect. When the mind becomes medicine. The mind is a world unto itself, a vast and intricate universe of thoughts, emotions, and unseen forces that shape the body in ways we are only beginning to understand. Within this hidden realm lies one of the most perplexing and powerful phenomena in all of medicine, one that defies expectations, transcends logic, and hints at an unseen connection between belief and biology. It is known as the placebo effect, the strange and startling ability of mere belief to heal, soothe, and alter the very fabric of our physical being. Imagine, for a moment, a patient suffering from relentless pain. They have tried everything: medications, therapies, even surgery, yet the agony persists, a constant and unwelcome companion. Then, a doctor hands them a small pill, assuring them that it is a breakthrough drug, a miracle treatment designed to erase their pain completely. The patient swallows it, and something remarkable happens. The pain vanishes. The body relaxes. A sense of relief washes over them, as if a switch has been flipped within their brain. But what they don't know is that the pill was nothing more than sugar, a completely inactive substance with no medicinal properties whatsoever. This is the mystery of the placebo effect, the ability of the mind to alter the body simply by believing in a cure. It is not magic, nor is it deception. It is an observable, measurable force, one that has baffled scientists for decades. How can belief alone produce real, biological change? How can an expectation, a mere thought, override pain, regulate hormones, and even accelerate healing? The placebo effect is more than just wishful thinking. It is a phenomenon deeply rooted in the brain's chemistry. When a person believes they are receiving treatment, their brain responds as if they actually are. Neurotransmitters flood the system, releasing endorphins, the body's natural painkillers. Dopamine levels rise, triggering a sense of well-being. The immune system activates, sending out signals of repair. The body, in essence, becomes its own medicine, simply because the mind wills it to be. Consider the countless studies where patients with depression, anxiety, and even Parkinson's disease have shown measurable improvement simply by taking an inactive pill. Their symptoms lessen, their moods lift, their motor functions improve. It is not the pill itself that is working, it is the body responding to the belief that it should be working. The brain, ever adaptable, rewires itself in accordance with expectation, transforming belief into biology, thought into action. And yet, for all its power, the placebo effect is not fully understood. It is unpredictable, selective, and varies from person to person. Some experience dramatic recoveries, others feel nothing at all. But what is clear is that the effect is real, and it raises profound questions about the nature of healing itself. Is medicine purely chemical? Or is there an invisible element, one woven into the very core of our consciousness, that plays a role as well? Consider the experiments in which placebo surgeries were performed, where patients believed they underwent real procedures, only to recover just as well as those who actually had the operation. Their pain subsided, their mobility improved, their symptoms faded into memory. The mere ritual of treatment, the belief that they had been healed, was enough to trigger their body's natural repair mechanisms. The implications of this are staggering. It suggests that the human body is capable of far more than we give it credit for. That belief, pure, unshakable belief, can be just as powerful as any drug. And if that is the case, then what else might the mind be capable of? Could it influence not just pain and disease, but performance, endurance, even longevity? Athletes who are given a placebo but told it is a performance-enhancing drug often find themselves running faster, lifting heavier, pushing their bodies beyond their usual limits. Soldiers in war, given nothing more than saline injections, have withstood pain that should have been unbearable. The mind, when convinced of its own strength, unlocks reserves of resilience that lie dormant under ordinary circumstances. But if belief can heal, then what about its opposite? The placebo effect has a darker twin, known as the nocebo effect, where negative expectations can create real illness. Patients who believe they are being exposed to toxins sometimes develop symptoms, as if they actually were. Those convinced they have a terminal illness sometimes worsen, despite no biological cause. The mind, it seems, is not just capable of healing, it is also capable of harm. Strange loophole. This ability of the mind to bend those rules, to manipulate the body in ways that should be impossible. It is as if we are built with an override cyst. And so, we are left with a paradox. The body is governed by laws of chemistry, physics, and biology. And yet, there exists this strange loophole. This ability of the mind to bend those rules, to manipulate the body in ways that should be impossible. It is as if we are built with an override system, a hidden mechanism that allows belief to alter reality itself. Perhaps this is an ancient survival trait, an evolutionary advantage embedded deep within us. The ability to heal through belief would have been invaluable to early humans, allowing them to recover faster, to endure wounds, to push through suffering when medicine was scarce. Or perhaps it hints at something deeper, a hidden capacity of consciousness that we have yet to fully understand. What if, one day, we learn to harness this power? What if the mind's ability to heal could be enhanced, amplified, controlled at will? Could we train ourselves to heal faster, to fight disease without drugs, to regulate our own health through sheer mental discipline? The possibilities are as endless as they are mysterious. But for now, the placebo effect remains an enigma, one of the greatest and most baffling discoveries in medical history. A reminder that the line between mind and body is not as clear as we once thought. A whisper of something greater, something hidden within us all, waiting to be understood. And so, as you drift into sleep, consider the power of belief, the unseen force that has shaped your life in ways you never realized, the subtle, invisible hand of expectation, guiding your body, shaping your experience, altering reality in ways too small to see but too profound to ignore. Perhaps the mind is the most powerful medicine of all. Schrödinger's cat. The paradox that redefines reality. There is a box. Inside this box sits a cat. But this is no ordinary cat, and this is no ordinary box. In this box, hidden from the world, the cat exists in a strange, impossible state where it is both alive and dead at the same time. A paradox, an absurdity, a riddle that defies all logic. And yet, this is not a fantasy or a trick of the imagination. This is a thought experiment proposed by the physicist Erwin Schrödinger, an idea so bizarre that it forces us to rethink the very nature of reality itself. At the heart of this paradox lies quantum mechanics, the branch of physics that governs the tiniest particles in the universe: electrons, photons, and the unseen building blocks of everything we know. Unlike the predictable world of everyday objects, where things are either here or there, moving or still. Quantum particles exist in a state of pure uncertainty. They do not settle into a definite state until they are observed. They hover in a limbo of possibility, existing in multiple states at once, only collapsing into one reality when someone looks. Schrödinger's cat was meant to expose the strangeness of this idea. Imagine placing a cat in a sealed box, along with a vial of poison that will be released if a radioactive atom decays. In the bizarre world of quantum mechanics, that atom is neither decayed nor intact. It exists in both states simultaneously. And if the atom determines the fate of the cat, then the cat itself must also exist in both states, both alive and dead, until we open the box and see for ourselves. It is an impossible image. A cat frozen between two contradictory realities. A universe that allows for two opposing truths to exist at the same time. And yet, in the world of the quantum, this is exactly what happens. Particles behave as waves of probability, existing in many states until measured. A photon, for example, can travel through two slits at the same time. An electron can be in two places at once. The act of observation forces the universe to make a decision. Until then, all possibilities exist together, waiting, lingering in an eerie superposition of potential. But what does this mean? If the fundamental particles of reality behave this way, then what about the things they build? What about you, sitting here, listening to this? What about the entire universe itself? Are we all just waves of possibility, collapsing into form only when someone is watching? Could reality itself be nothing more than an illusion of observation, an infinite ocean of potential, waiting for a conscious mind to bring it into being? The implications are unsettling. If observation determines reality, then who or what is observing the universe? If we are conscious beings who collapse possibilities into certainty, then does that mean consciousness is fundamental to existence itself? Could the universe exist without a conscious observer? Or is all of reality simply a vast quantum experiment, unfolding in an endless cascade of probabilities, locked in paradoxes we have yet to understand? And then there is the question of choice. If a cat can be both alive and dead until the box is opened, then does that mean reality branches in two different possibilities? One where the cat survives, another where it does not. Do we, too, exist in countless versions, living out infinite possibilities across a vast quantum multiverse? Every choice we make, every path we take, do they all exist somewhere, side by side, waiting for us to observe them into being? Schrödinger himself never meant for his cat to be taken literally. It was a critique, a way of pointing out the absurdity of applying quantum mechanics to large objects. And yet, the experiment continues to haunt the minds of physicists, philosophers, and thinkers alike. Because if the quantum world is real, and all evidence suggests that it is, then somewhere, in some unfathomable way, the cat in the box truly does exist in two states at once, and perhaps we do, too. Perhaps our lives are nothing more than waves of potential, waiting for the moment of observation to shape them. Perhaps our reality is far more fragile, far more fluid than we ever imagined. And if that is true, then what is truly real? What is existence, if not a delicate dance of probabilities, collapsing into certainty only when we choose to look? The deeper you go, the more unsettling the questions become. If quantum mechanics governs everything, then why do we not see its effects in the everyday world? Why don't we see people existing in two places at once, or objects flickering between multiple states? What keeps reality so steady, so predictable, when its very foundation is built on uncertainty? Some believe it is the sheer number of particles working together, averaging out the strangeness. Others suspect something far more mysterious, a hidden layer of physics yet to be uncovered. And then there is the strangest question of all. If reality is shaped by the Baigong pipes, a mystery carved into Taimyr, the remote wilderness of Qinghai, China, where the jagged mountains whisper secrets into the wind, and the land itself feels untouched by time. There stands a peculiar structure, an ancient, decayed pyramid, its entrance yawning like the mouth of a forgotten past. But within this lonely monument, scattered across the landscape like the remnants of an impossible history, lie the Baigong pipes, anomalous metal tubes embedded in rock, stretching deep into the earth. Their purpose is unknown, their origin shrouded in a haze of uncertainty, and their presence, it defies everything we know about time, civilization, and the limits of human understanding. The pipes themselves appear old, far older than they should be. They are fused into the surrounding rock, as though time itself has swallowed them whole, pressing them into the earth like fossilized remains of something long lost. Some of these pipes jut out from the pyramid ruins, while others are embedded in the bedrock of a dried-up lake nearby. They range in size, some as thick as a human arm, others as slender as reeds. But what truly unsettles those who study them is the question that lingers over them, like a shadow. Who placed them here, and why? Conventional history tells us that no advanced civilization existed in this region thousands of years ago. Certainly not one capable of smelting and shaping metal with such precision. And yet, tests on these pipes suggest that they are ancient, perhaps over 5,000 years old, if not older. Some estimates place them in the realm of geological time, stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. If this is true, then the pipes predate any known metallurgical advancements by an absurd margin, which raises an even stranger question. If not humans, then who or what made them? Scientists have analyzed the composition of the pipes, expecting to find a simple explanation. Yet what they discovered only deepened the mystery. The pipes contain an unusually high percentage of silicon dioxide, something often associated with materials that have undergone extreme heat or exposure to the elements over millennia. Even stranger, some of the metals in the pipes appear to have oxidized in ways that suggest immense age, far beyond the reach of any known civilization. And then there is the presence of rare elements, materials not commonly found in natural formations, nor in ancient metallurgical work. Theories swirl around the Baigong pipes like mist on the mountains. Some researchers believe they are remnants of an unknown ancient culture, one whose knowledge of metallurgy and engineering far exceeded what we currently believe possible for the time. Others propose that they are a natural phenomenon, some kind of bizarre geological formation that, through a process still not fully understood, mimics the appearance of manufactured pipes. But if that is the case, why do they form a structured, organized network? Why do they seem designed, intentional, as though they once served a specific purpose? Some have gone further, venturing into realms of speculation that stretch the mind. Could the Baigong pipes be evidence of lost civilizations, those erased by the slow hands of time? A society that rose and fell long before our recorded history began, leaving behind only these rusted veins in the rock? Or could they be even stranger artifacts of an unknown intelligence, visitors from the distant past, or perhaps from somewhere far beyond our understanding? The area surrounding the pipes is eerily silent. The wind moves through the desolate landscape, carrying with it the weight of mystery, as though the land itself remembers something long forgotten. No one truly knows what the pipes once carried: water, gas, something else entirely. If they were built with a purpose, then that purpose has long since been buried beneath the weight of history. But even now, as researchers study them, they remain defiant in their silence, refusing to yield their secrets. Some pipes run deep into the earth, their true depth unknown. Attempts to follow their paths underground have led to dead ends, as if the rock itself is unwilling to surrender what it hides. What lies beneath? A buried structure, a forgotten network, a gateway to a past that should not exist. The answers slip away like sand through fingers, tantalizing yet unreachable. And then there is the question of decay. If these pipes are as ancient as they seem, why have they not disintegrated entirely? Metal erodes, crumbles, succumbs to the slow grind of time. And yet, these pipes persist, their rusted surfaces whispering of an age-long past, but not entirely lost. Could they have been forged from a technology we do not yet understand, alloy resistant to the ravages of millennia? Or is there something about this place, something about the land itself, that has preserved them beyond what should be possible? Legends among the local people speak of beings that once roamed these. Legends among the local people speak of beings that once roamed these lands, of forgotten gods and distant ancestors, who possessed knowledge far greater than our own. Could the Baigong pipes be their legacy, their final trace left behind as time washed over them? Or are they something more mechanical, something artificial, remnants of a forgotten machine rusting away in the solitude of the mountains? The lake bed where some pipes are found only adds to the enigma. Once filled with water, it has long since dried, leaving only cracked earth and the echoes of what once was. Some researchers believe the pipes might have been part of an ancient water system, a method of channeling or transporting liquid in ways we do not yet understand. But again, this theory demands an answer that does not exist. Who could have built such a system? In a time when history tells us no one had the capability to do so, there are those who dismiss the mystery altogether, attributing the pipes to natural processes, to simple misinterpretation. But even they cannot fully explain their arrangement, their structured nature, their strange and deliberate positioning. If this is nature's work, then it has played a trick so perfect, so precise, that it has left even the most skeptical minds uncertain. The Baigong pipes remain an unanswered question, a whisper from the past that refuses to fade. They challenge our understanding of time, of civilization, of what is truly possible. They stand in defiance of simple explanations, waiting for someone to unlock the truth buried within them. And so, they remain silent, unyielding, a riddle etched into the earth, staring back at us through the long corridors of time. Perhaps one day we will understand. Perhaps one day we will uncover the truth, peeling back the layers of history to reveal something far stranger than we ever imagined. But until then, they sit beneath the mountain, rusting in the silence, waiting.